You've been listening to President Donald Trump in the Oval Office signing a number of executive orders. One that we've been talking about is the name switch from the Department of Defense to the Department of War. We actually have some signs or some video of those signs being switched out. This is a process that could potentially cost thousands, millions, maybe even in the billions of dollars if they do in fact change out signs not only here around Washington, but across the country. That was just one piece of news from this. It does seem like there's some question as to whether or not you would need congressional approval for this ultimately to go through, but it doesn't seem like any signs that the White House is slowing down on that. We want to go out to Haley Bull. She's our White House correspondent and has been tracking all of that news, potential news, from the White House. Haley, we just heard from the president. What were some of your major takeaways?
Yeah, Andrew, a lot of news there. Number one being the president signing an order, as you mentioned, that paves the way for the Department of Defense to be renamed to the Department of War. President Trump indicating that this is something he had thought about for some time, calling it a quote-unquote attitude. And he acknowledged, as you mentioned, the question remaining of whether Congress needs to act on it to cement that. But when asked about the message it sends with this, the president saying it sends a message of victory and strength, tying it to his peace through strength approach, largely pushing back on the notion of how to square invoking the term war as he pursues peace deals. The president indicating he believes it's because of this message of strength that they have been able to secure some agreements. He also signed an executive order involving those taken hostage, and we are waiting to see the specific details of this action. But officials say it gives Secretary of State Marco Rubio the ability to take action against states that take Americans in much the same capacity it does for state sponsors of terrorism. The special envoy for hostage affairs, Adam Bowler, was standing next to the president, saying that the administration has returned 72 Americans. Notably, though, one group of hostages that has yet to be returned in full are those taken hostage by Hamas on October 7th. This is a negotiation that has been ongoing, efforts to negotiate between Israel and Hamas on this front. President Trump saying they are in, quote, deep negotiations with Hamas. And the president also signed another executive bill around privacy protections for the home buying process. Notably, White House officials also said this was President Trump's 200th executive action taken today with the renaming of the Department of Defense. And that is a fact that we saw the president and his aides there in the Oval Office really celebrate. And finally, Andrew, looking ahead to next year, when the U.S. hosts the G20 conference. This is a conference largely focused on the world's largest economies. The president announcing that that will be hosted in Miami. This all comes as a day that the administration got really what was a weaker than expected jobs report, as officials here, though, are blaming the Federal Reserve for not taking action to cut interest rates and touting what they call a pro-growth agenda, still pointing to positive indicators they see in the economy. And so we are waiting to see whether the president addresses that specifically in these remarks.
All right, Haley, on a busy day from the White House correspondent Haley Bull for us. Thank you for that update.